everyone. I am wearing a headset today because I just finished our latest parent webinar and decided to record this real quick because the planner that goes with the parent webinar, it's an ebook with habit tracking, is intentionally tied stylistically and design, and also, of course, it's all by me, which I'm all tied to me, to go with the special gift that I have for you. So I have a journal for you, and it's a journal that I personally used for a long time because I am kind of a journal geek. I probably have 6 different journals for different things. I have what I call my book. I have one for my business. I have one for my German grammar. I have one where I'm practicing, I'm learning brush lettering, and I have one for my house projects that I'm working on, and then I have like my own personal diary journal, and then I have my planner that I use for the whole family. I have a lot of journals and planners and books. And every year I love doing like a big end of the year writing journal reset thing where I start over again in January. I am someone who loves January as a fresh start. And I hate most of what's out there because it is so aspirational and so focused on success as defined by somebody else. And it just isn't me. It doesn't fit with my life as a mom with a lot of responsibilities and things to do, but also doesn't fit with my values and what's actually important to me. So I created my own journal for me years ago, and then I realized everyone else would probably benefit from this too and would probably enjoy doing it. So I have now updated and improved and redesigned each year. This year's my favorite. I always say that, but this year's definitely my favorite. The design is so much better. I'm so happy with it. It's very pretty. It's very clean compared to previous years, and it has all the really important stuff. Some of the pages have changed a little bit. I've spread things out to make more room, but I'm going to real quick go through section by section and just kind of tell you what's in there and why I did that for you, because this is for you. You're presumably someone taking care of kids if you showed up in my realm, because basically everything I do has something to do with kids. And if you're taking care of kids, or if you are a kid at heart, or if you are a kid, uh, your life is a lot right now. And I want you to have something that's going to help you be able to take a minute and actually think about what do you want? What's important to you? What's happening in your life, and what do you want to be have happening? Because at least for me, my biggest complaint for so long is my brain doesn't belong to me. Like, I don't get to think about what I want to think about. I'm so busy thinking about, does everyone have food? Does everyone have transportation? Where's everyone supposed to be right now? Did I plan ahead for tomorrow? Do we have clothes for tomorrow? What about next week? Wait, next week is what? How am I going to do that? Yeah, that's kind of like the story of my life when I'm not teaching. Teaching, I've got that down. The running a family part, there is no way to have that down. It's chaos. It's controlled chaos at all times because there is more work than is possible for one person to do, and yet we do it anyways. And so I want you to take a minute, get my journal, print it off, put it on your iPad, do it on your phone, do it on your journaling app. I use it on my journaling app personally. Do it whatever, however it works for you, and work through these different steps and think about what you want from life, what you value, and what habits you want for this next year that are going to make 2025 your best year ever. So let's start looking through these different sections. So after, of course, my very friendly welcome and a little bit of an explanation that I think I just gave you anyways, and a little bit about Dr. Robin School, because I am actually the Dr. Robin of Dr. Robin School. So I have a little blurb on there because this all ties together with Dr. Robin School, because I'm not just teaching your kids because they need to know science. I'm teaching your kids because they need to know their bodies and how to care for themselves. And we love our kids and we want what's best for them. And also, that's going to be better for you too. But so that's all there. But then, as far as the actual journaling part, so the first actual journaling page is my experiences, because to understand where we're going this next year, we need to understand how we got where we are. And these are everything from losses to how we felt joy, all the big things from this year. And I think we often don't give ourselves credit for what we've been through, because it's easy to look back and be like, well, that was a normal year. Or to say, like, well, there's this one big thing that happened. But when we really sit down with journaling prompts, we can be like, oh, there's this other thing that doesn't seem like a big deal, but it kind of affected me, or kind of really affected me. Or maybe I need to consider it so I don't have that happen again. Or maybe I want more of something. So hopefully you'll find some surprises in here. I always do. Then there's journaling prompts about places. And not just like, where did you end up this year? Because but more like where did you go? Where did you feel different ways? One of them is about comfort. Where do you go for comfort? I'm always surprised by what I put there because it's not usually what I expect. My bed, I love my bed. That's never a surprise. But my car this year came out as a big one for me. My kids are old enough that I can actually not be with them all the time, which is great. And I found that I was going to my car to be alone, whether I was at home or at an event or church or anywhere. If I needed like a moment, my car. And so then we can start questioning, like, well, what's happening that I'm needing my car as my spot of comfort? And is that a bad thing? Maybe it's a great thing, or maybe I can make it even better. So that's just one example, a bunch of different prompts to follow and see what it is that is affecting you place wise. Then we talk about circles of connection. This is so important. Every year when I do this, I'm surprised by who ends up in my circles of connection because it's something that I don't think about. I just live my life. And I'm like, oh, how did they get in my inner circle? Or wait a second, they used to be in my circle and they just bumped. What happened? And being able to think about like, who do I want in each layer? And there's more prompts to be more, I'm throwing out this random stuff. You'll see what I mean. There's a whole diagram. You got to put everything in. You got to think about who you want where. It's great. So, thinking about your people is really important. Maybe you don't have enough people in your circles. Maybe you have too many people in your circles. Now's your chance to consider it. Next are going to be a couple different pages focused on discovering your values. Values are really where I started this journal because it was noticing that the journals that I was finding online or that were being sent to me or that they were handing out different places, uh, none of them really matched what I wanted from my next year. And even the ones that were like goals and break it down or goals in different parts, goals are not actually one of my values. Uh, Achieving goals, I mean, goals are seem like achievement. Like that's not what I'm. So being able to sit down and really, really hash out my values, what's super important to me, and I love the questions I put here because they're ones that help me really find what my values were, and I've seen it work for so many other people also. So, a couple pages of those, as well as a list of so many values. So, first, you'll answer some questions to kind of prime the pumps and get you thinking. And then there's going to be a couple pages just of words where you can go through, you can pick out, you can cross them off, you can circle them, you can put arrows, you can put notes, whatever you want. This is your journal. I redo that every year because I find that over time, the core of who I am hasn't changed, but life happens. We have experiences where I realize, like, oh, this wasn't really important to me before, but given what's happened, I now realize how important this is. Or this used to be a huge value of mine, but maybe this isn't the season of my life for it. Maybe giving back isn't something I can do right now. And that's okay. It's still a value, but maybe it needs to take a bit of a back seat to some of these other things. So I redo that every single year. After this, the rest of the journal is about taking these values and applying them to your life. So rating how those values are going in your life in different ways, kind of choosing your top ones, seeing how it's going, doing a big brain dump of all different things, looking at your habits and how your habits can support those values, picking your top habits you're going to work on, and looking at what's going to stop you and how are you going to overcome that. So that in the end, what we're looking at is our habits because life isn't made of these huge, huge things we do. Life is made in pixels. You may have heard that. Or in the case for me, minutes. I think a lot about like, oh, 3 minutes a day adds up to like 20 something hours a year. That's a lot. I was really surprised when I got my stats for Duolingo this year. The crazy owl who makes you practice your language. I'm doing Duolingo with one of my kids who really wanted to do it. I tend to do things with my kids if they want to. And yeah, I only did like 3 minutes a day on average. But over the course of the whole year, it was something like 20 some hours. And I am now speaking basic German with my child around the house. Like, well, while we're fixing breakfast, we'll be talking about like, I need this and thank you and what we're doing that day. And like, that was not something that I did this huge, tremendous push. It was just these little tiny pieces over and over. And that is really what makes up our life, are these little things we do. If you want to be horrified, add up how many days you spend in the bathroom every year. If you want to be proud of yourself, look at all these little habits and what they add up to, because how we spend these minutes is really how we spend our lives. And so being able to build these habits, very, very small habits, reading for just these small moments, I got myself reading again after my kids finally gave me enough brain space for that by keeping a book on my microwave. And while the microwave was running, I would be reading. And then I started reading while I was brushing my teeth because then I brushed my teeth a little bit longer. And I also got 2 more minutes of reading in. So, adding these little habits in there, whatever it is that's valuable for you, and coming up with methods to make that work is giving you something that you wouldn't have otherwise. You're giving yourself you. You're giving yourself your best year because you're giving yourself what it is that you value, what it is that is meaningful to you and important for you. By the end of the journal, my goal for you is that you will have a better picture of what you want out of 2025 and how you're going to get there so that 2025 is your best year yet. And I'm pretty confident that's going to work for you because I've seen it help so many other people. And let's say that you totally flop and you don't do any of it, just having that self knowledge is a game changer. So, this is my gift to you. Go download it. If you're watching this on YouTube, click on the link. And that will take you to a landing page where you can go download it. If you're watching this on the landing page, well, you're already there. Get it. Go ahead and get started. It's never too early. It's never too late to start putting it together and see how you're going to make this your best year yet.